What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, you guys? Happy Midday Monday. I am so happy to see you guys.
What happened to the flyer you usually put
Wait
up there?
a
Like you
minute,
just
wait
went
a
straight
minute.
live on
Yeah, I decided to change it up a little bit. I wanted to make sure I said hey to everyone. I hope your midday is going well. I hope you guys are ready for this midday boost, this midday explosion to really keep you on track for the new year, really get your game on point, and really answer some questions that you've been debating when it comes to your business and your business funding. We have Darius backstage. He is ready to come in and talk to you guys. So, without further ado, I want you guys to share. I want you guys to like if you know someone that is looking to start their business this new year and they need some business funding. I want you guys to share this with them, tag your friends, let them know, come on in and let's join.
this is not just real estate. This is business funding. So small business, man, put it in y'all groups. This gonna help everybody. We're not just talking about real estate for real. This is general funding. This is how to go get the bag to grow your business.
Absolutely. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. What's up, Darius?
How y'all doing today? How's everyone?
We are doing good,
man.
We are doing
good. Been waiting on this one here, man. People been waiting on this one, Darius, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. They been DMing me like, hey, man, when the funding got coming, man.
I had a guy that Tonio. We appreciate you for being on. I had a guy that was on the phone with Tonio last week, Friday, and I personally sent him a message like, you had all these questions last week about business funding. So I hope you are today to ask these questions. What I see you guys. What's up, Victoria?
Building.
Hey, Latanya. Hey, Joy. All right. That's what's up, you guys. Y'all let me know who's all in the house. Y'all tell Darius, hey, make sure y'all show Darius some love. Get your questions rolling.
Yes, this is, we talking about credit repair. We talking about funding. We talking about business funding. Man, this for y'all. If you got questions, this is the time to ask your questions. This is the man. I'm telling you now, this is the man. So ask your questions. Let's get it going. I'm gonna start it off by asking a simple question.
All right. Hey, y'all. Hey, fam.
All right, I'm sorry. You want
to go ahead. Go ahead. I'll let you do it. Go ahead.
who is Darius? And I don't know why had you say to my phone under Marcus. I don't know. I just make names up sometimes. But who is Darius, man? Tell us who Darius is.
Absolutely. No, that's funny. When you texted me Marcus, I'm like, okay, maybe he has, maybe he got the wrong number. But then I realized the second time, I'm like, okay, I gotta just let him know. It's all good, family. But a little bit about me. My name is Darius Benders, y'all. Originally from Boston, Massachusetts. I just relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, or outside of Atlanta, but I'm in the Georgia area. We've been now doing in the business funding field for 2 years now. And, it's a passion, leveraging credit to get access to funding, to be able to fund your dream, whether you're starting, scaling, Real estate, right? Hint, hint. Generational wealth is something that I love, and I love helping people just get in position to go win.
That's what's up. You got a question? Like, I'm going good.
I mean, you got all the questions, don't you? You usually the ultimate podcaster. All right, so Darius, tell me why should anyone listen to you? Like, why?
So reason someone should listen to me. I always say like the easiest way to accomplish something new is to follow the blueprint of someone who's done it. So in the past 6 months, we've gotten 1.5 million, a little over, funded between clients, students, and mentees. And like I said, we've been doing this now for a little under 2 years. And I would consider someone who definitely understands the game and how to get access to capital.
All right. I'm a left field type of question guy. Tell me about your biggest win. What was that? What was that client that just like took you over the top where it was like, I can do this?
Yeah, so what happened was I had went to a conference. It was about 2 years ago, pandemic time, and I was new, right? I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I just knew I needed to change. So I got in the room, met some people who were in the credit game, and they were just teaching me, and I'm like, I need to learn this. So then I went out for myself, built up my credit, and within after we built up our credit, of course, that took about 2 months, right? And then I went out and I funded myself 167,000 in just 47 days. So then I'm like, okay, like let me try this on other people to see if it's do, because it's when we do it for ourselves, you're like, okay, that's cool, but let me see if I can do it on somebody else. So then one of my good friends, his credit was always good, but oftentimes we're always taught like, oh, you just go get a nice car or go get a house to live in. But I'm like, hey, bro, let me get you some funding for free. I won't even charge you because I didn't even know about charging. I was just like, let me see if I can get you funding. So we ended up getting him. He got more than me, and I was like, dang. So I ended up getting him a little under 200,000. We ended up. He already had his LLC, so I ended up getting him about 125 on the business side, and then 73,000 on the personal side. So he's the biggest person I had gotten funded.
Wow, man, that's life changing, man. I mean, we talk about generational wealth, we talk about doing things, but $200,000 can really change the mentality, the mindset, the trajectory of whatever business you got going on.
Absolutely,
it ain't just real estate. I mean, you can go into $200,000. He go 200,000. Go start a business. Come on, man.
That's the type of business funding you need, though. That'll really.
Oh,
you're not asking for that money from others. Like that's oof.
OPM.
OPM. Yeah, you can, and it's so it's dope because like you got to think, like you said, it can be life changing for somebody if you know what to do with that. They can come see the Denmarks, get that real estate game, and now they have a blueprint to be able to go really leverage that capital instead of just getting it and like, okay, I don't know what to do with it, right? So definitely game changer.
Agree. And it's so crazy. Like we believe in OPM, we believe in leveraging to the utmost. I know we come from the Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad era. Mm-hmm. So after reading that book and really understanding what leverage was, it was a game changer. If you haven't read that book, I don't care what Darius say, I don't care what we say. You gotta read that book.
That's the foundation to really getting in the game, understanding the game, and understanding assets and what to do with your money.
Yes. So, and once you understand asset liabilities, money is a tool and not to be just spent on expenses and those type of things, your world changes, and you start looking at things so different. And I'm just not talking real estate life. Like we kind of had been tricked to thinking buying that big house was the American dream. But man, that's the biggest scheme I ever seen. Like I'm buying this big house
that I really don't own.
That I don't own. They're telling me I own it, but I don't own it because the bank still technically own it, but they tricking me into saying this is your house, take care of it, but if you don't pay it, I'm gonna take it back. Man, get out of here, man. So I went on a little side rant.
You went like I go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm passionate about that part because I wasn't taught that part. So I understand the importance of it. I'm making sure I teach my kids that, and we want y'all to teach y'all kids.
Absolutely. All right. So you told us about your biggest win. It's only appropriate for you to tell us what was your biggest loss? What was your biggest failure when it comes to it?
Okay, that's a great question. My biggest failure. So I at the beginning, right? You're excited. I got into the business and I think I bit off more than I could chew, right? In terms of like just the amount of volume we were getting for customers. You know, you start promoting yourself after you get a couple wins, you're like, I can take on the
I
world.
could
So
do it.
not having systems in business, of course, killed me. Yeah, starting off, it was just doing like credit repair. Hey, I'll fix your credit, build your credit, and get you funded. But what you learn is when you're a one man show, or one, even for the ladies on here, if you're a one woman show in your business, you really have to watch the volume. So at one time, I had taken on like 20 clients, but it was just me, and I'm promising all these things, and one day I was just overwhelmed, and I was just like, man, I'm gonna give these people their money back, right? And now this is way back when I started, because I was just like, it's not worth it. So that was, and I really did give them all of their money back. Even some of the money I had already spent, I had just given back out of my money, of course. But that was something I learned early in the game, and that's just like business foundation in general. Like you need to kind of be prepared for high volume. So having systems, having employees, whether they're actual people here that or virtual assistants, those are just going to be major key for allowing you to really execute at whatever you're good at.
Absolutely. I am the biggest fan of virtual assistants. We
Love
have
them.
6 virtual assistants, and just honestly, like this morning, I was probably supposed to wake up. I didn't get up until 10 a.m. But I knew my team had already had their team meeting. They didn't need me for it.
Love
I
it.
knew everything was rolling without me. And whatever I add was just bonus because everybody knew what they needed to do to get the day going, get the week going.
Yep.
But oof, if you don't
That's
have a
good.
virtual assistant, make
Oh,
sure you get you a
absolutely.
virtual assistant.
All right, man. Let's not forget that this call is for y'all. So if you got credit repair questions, if you got business funding questions, you got personal funding questions, let's ask our questions in here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you think this will help somebody else. So give me 3 myths about credit repair.
Yes. So 3 myths about credit repair. Number one is most people think there's certain things that cannot come off, right? Like people will be like, oh, I got a repo off. I mean, I got a repo on, it can't come off, or I got student loans, those can't come off, right? I tell it everyone, everything that is on a credit report can come off, right? Because
Say
there's a
what?
certain everything on a student loan, everything on a credit report can come off. Everything. There's nothing that cannot come off, right? So no matter where you're at, no matter how bad you may think your credit is or you can't get it right, that's a myth. It can always get better. We can always repair credit. A second myth is that people don't know that a lot of people don't know that you can simply remove hard inquiries. All right, there's just typically going to be a time frame in which you want to do it if they are attached to open accounts, meaning accounts that you did get approved for. But anything that you don't get approved for, that can easily come off. But even when you do get a product, certain products, you can remove those inquiries. And then a third myth within specifically credit repair, I would say, is that hmm third myth is that, oh, okay, this is a great myth. A lot of people think that you paying down your collection is gonna help you. And although I tell people
Oh,
what
that
it
ain't
will,
gonna help me.
nope. What it's gonna do is temporarily it's gonna help you. You're gonna think that it's helping you because your score is gonna go up a little bit. But when you walk into them banks and ask, "Hey, can I get some funding?" They're still gonna see it's a negative account. So I tell people, instead of paying it down, just dispute it and get it off of your report.
Oh, that was good
That was
stuff.
good. That was good. What they do in the what they do in the what they call it? The
You can
jazz
mess it up.
club. Ooh,
Poetry.
poetry.
Yeah. Time up.
All right. See, I see a question
Come back
just
to that
came
one.
in.
Come back
Come
to
back.
that. Back to that.
Okay, we're gonna come back.
We got you, Edward. That was a good one.
All right, Latanya, I'm gonna get you in. Snap fingers is what it's called, Yasna said. What is the worst credit situation that you've seen, and how long did it take you to fix it and get funding? Ooh.
Ooh, that was a
Also,
good
the
one
worst
for you.
situation we've seen. That's a good question. We've seen some pretty bad ones. So we had one young lady, and I don't know how this happened, but she had 3 repos on her report. She had like 65 inquiries across all three bureaus, and then she had a couple late payments. Um, 2 of the repos we actually ended up getting off second round, which was within 60 days, and we cleaned her whole report, including everything, in about 4 months. So that was probably the worst that I can remember off the top. And yeah, so typically I tell people all credit repair, I say typically is going to be between 3 and 6 months, right? But my thing is I used to kind of overpromise because, like I said, you already know, being someone in the game, is you could get a lot of things off first round, but I like when we under promise and then over deliver. Usually our customers are like, wow, you said 3 to 6 months. It came off, 1 to 2 or even 3 months. So typically I tell people 3 to 6 months is going to be the process to repair your credit.
Anthony, man, you ain't lying, boy. When he said 3 repos, I said, God, like,
Yeah.
But let's just let in retrospect, that person could have been someone that is on Turo, that although they had 3 repos, they may have 10 different auto loans
now you
with
you
65
cannot put no sugar
inquiries.
on that.
I
Yeah, they ain't
mean,
have. I like how
all
you
right,
tried to
all
help
right.
them out. Listen, they ain't have no
She,
10
she
auto
tried.
loans.
She
I
tried.
tried. Hold on, Latanya has one more question.
Mhm.
More, have as many as you want, Latanya. How often do you see items that have been removed returned back to the report?
So that's a great question. So about very, very seldom does this happen, but every once in a while we do get it, and typically it's with collections specifically. There's like I tell people it's like a 20-25% chance that it will return. But technically that's supposed to be against the law. So all you need to do, when if you do see a collection return on your report, is I would dispute with a little more urgency. So what I would do for that is I would submit a CFPB report, right, which is just the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, just letting them know like, hey, this was already off my report. And I tell people like you always want to save your dispute letters that you are sending in, because now you attach those to your CFPB report, send it in, and then within 15 days, the CFPB should give you an update. And with that being against the law, right, that should come off very quick if it does return to your report.
Any lender that sees something from the CFPB, it automatically becomes high priority. Like,
Exactly.
I worked at
Yep.
Regions and Consumer Questions, and every time we saw the CFPB, it was like, okay, we got to do this now. Okay, the
Yep.
attorney's involved. Like immediately. And if it's something that you can just let it go, they'll let it go before they have to go into a lawsuit battle.
That was
Absolutely.
okay.
CFB always heads like near the consumer versus the lender.
Absolutely.
Okay. So now we done got credit fixed. We don't use
The
the
CFPB.
CFPB people. They done took care of us, right? So when I'm going for personal funding, do that look different from business funding? And if so, kind of explain it to me. What does it? How do I know if I'm ready for personal or business funding?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So the way I break it down is like this, right? Let's say you are someone who's newer in credit, right? It's your first time. You're looking to, just start getting access to capital. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to get into personal funding first. Sorry, and the reason being is because this, um, your business funding, which we'll be going for after, is going to be predicate on our personal profile, right? And that entails, the number of accounts that you have, right? Primary accounts, you typically want at least, I tell you, somewhere 4 to 5, right, before going for personal funding. But you want at least 10 personal primary accounts reporting on your credit report before getting into business funding. All right, that can be anything from mortgages, student loans, credit cards, lines of credit, auto loans, right? Any form of loans. All of these things are considered primaries. They're in your name. All right. Once you have 5 accounts, Your utilization, typically we want to be under 15%, which it probably is if you don't have any credit cards or any lending products at that point. You want absolutely no derogatory. So all we cleaned it up already. We talked about that. No lates, no derogs at all. All right. And then you want your credit age, you want to at least be 2.5. You can get away with 1.5, but I want you to have 2.5 or more years before getting into some personal. That's just gonna enable us to get those higher limits, right? Because always you can get go get a $500 card, $1,000 card, but why take that if you can go get 10,000, 20,000, right? And oftentimes people just aren't patient, you know. So yeah, once you're that, you have that criteria, then I would suggest starting with credit unions. And the reason I love credit unions is because the underwriting is typically a lot easier, right? They have a lot, less criteria than those bigger banks, which means you're going to be able to go get 10, 20, even $30,000, even if it's your first product, right? Typically the interest rates are going to be very low, and they are typically like a membership based. Credit unions are membership based, and most people think that you can't become a member at them, but it simply is very easy. For most credit unions, you just have to typically ask, hey, I'd like to become a member. And then they'll let you know that you just make a donation to one of the organizations that they work closely with. And just like that, you're in there. So that's how I would start. Go out, find some credit unions after your profile is in order, and then go get those high limits.
I'm gonna say one thing before we go too much further.
That had me getting hot. That was so good. That was so good.
We should get some questions out there.
Right.
All right. I do want to clarify one thing. When we talk about business funding, we are not talking about getting non-guaranteed business funding. We are talking about personal guaranteeing the business funding. There's a different process. That's a whole nother Zoom. That's a whole nother call in order to build your business report up to get business funding without personal guaranteeing. So all the business things that we're talking about, we are talking about
how to do it quickly, how to expedite it and get that money and not let it take a year.
6 months to a year. So if you got good personal funding, the quickest way to get good business funding is to use that personal funding to get business funding. And if I didn't explain that,
because you can personal guarantee and you can start off with the quill, and that's your 2,000, your 5,000. But if you really 500, right? If you really want to get to it quickly, because most people are not trying to get to it 2 years later. They're trying to get to it now.
Right. Yesterday.
Right.
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 Yeah.
It's true.
All right. So we'll take some questions real quick.
All right. We'll go with Chappelle question. I'm going to come back to your original one, Chappelle. I'm going to go with this one first. A lot of my clients think that they can't buy a house because they have bankruptcy. What's your approach for those? There we go.
Yeah, so we treat bankruptcy just like any other negative or delinquent item. So first thing they want to do is they want to update their personal information on their credit reports, right? I tell people like 80 to 90% of most personal reports do have inaccuracies, all right? And the reason inaccuracies are super important to update is just because it gives us means to then go into to dispute the negative item, right? So what they do, first thing, update their personal information, and then after that, they would now look at their the bankruptcy, check out the information on it within their credit report. Like, what are the dates on it? What is the reasoning? Everything needs to match 100% of the time within that negative account across all three bureaus. And if it doesn't, that's against the law, right? So there are different consumer laws. There's different reasonings. According to the FCRA, which is just the Fair Credit Reporting Act, everything must be 100% in alignment, right? And if it's not, no matter what it is, it must come off of our report. All right. So it just simply be that we just don't be knowing the information and what to put in these letters. But essentially for that bankruptcy, she can use that once it's attached to inaccurate information, or if it's not, then she can use some consumer laws, which essentially state that she needed to give consent for that bankruptcy to be reporting on her credit report. Because when we think of the term fraud, right? We think of like human to human, like, oh, you did fraud. But a lot of times these credit bureaus or these debt collectors are doing fraud, right? When they're moving things or they're putting things in our name that we did not consent or we did not validate that they could do. So what she could do is simply send in some dispute letters. We have a sequence that we like to do where we hit them with a few different rounds, which I'll definitely talk about even more in depth. Make sure y'all get in the room at the conference. We definitely gonna dive deep into it. But essentially, those are some steps that she could take to get rid of those bankruptcies.
All right.
Sweet.
I got two questions that come back to them because I get my questions. At least they questions written down. All right. One question is I heard you said when you was talking between business and personal, you was like 4 to 6 for personal and 10 for business.
Yeah.
Do you consider an account that's paid off in those numbers, or does it have to be active accounts?
No, it can be paid off. That's a great question. So, like, if you have an auto loan that's paid off, that actually looks great on your account. So those are considered good standing accounts. You just whether it's paid off or you're still actively paying on it is good. Absolutely, you want 10 that's in your name, whether they're paid off or actively paying on them now.
I forgot my second question. You can go to the next question.
All right. To put how far back, if I show it. Yeah. How far back do you go when speaking on derogatory and or late inquiries? So how far back, I guess, with removing them off of your credit report, do you go back?
How far back do you? So, like, what you mean if they were like 5 years ago and they're still there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, it can be whenever. It's if it's still on your report, we can get rid of it. I don't care if it was yesterday or if it was 10 years ago. If it's on our report, we can get rid of it, right? So if you have I see you said inquiries. So if you have inquiries and they shouldn't even be on there if they're past the 5 years, but if they are, all you got to do is a few methods you can take. If it's on Experian, we actually have a 24-hour method that we use where we can call them up. We have a script and they can get rid of things typically that same day. If it's on Equifax or TransUnion, what you can do is you can send in an inquiry removal letter that we have, or you can submit a FTC report, right? Just essentially stating that these inquiries either weren't you or they were inaccurate, all right, and that you need them removed immediately. And that usually helps. Typically, you'll send in an FTC report via certified mail, and then usually you'll get an update within 5 days after you send that out. So yeah, so it doesn't matter the time frame. We can always remove it, if it's derogatory or late.
All right. Joy made me remember my question.
Joy gave me a question.
Remember my question. All right. We'll drop the contact info at the end, Chappelle. Also, he will be at the conference. So make sure y'all get y'all tickets to the conference. But I remember my question. And somebody told me this. So this is not my thoughts. I am repeating what somebody told me, and I just want to confirm it.
Mm-hmm.
If I do like on Credit Karma or the online dispute, do I lose some of my rights by doing it online versus doing it through letter or in person?
Having someone else do it on my behalf.
Yeah, so you don't, so you can, and that's a great question. So what I tell people is this: the more like credit repair is understanding some laws, right? But it's understanding process. But most importantly, it's about being persistent. The reason a lot of people don't get things removed is because they'll try one way or one time and then it doesn't work, and they're like, oh, it doesn't work. But that's what the credit bureaus want. Like, they want you to be like, oh, okay, I quit, because then you just made their job easier. But when you attack online, that's perfectly fine. We send out dispute letters, right? You do the CFPB, in which we talked about, or you can do an FTC. Those are all good ways to attack. So no, there's nothing wrong with disputing online. I see someone said, is it better? I would say it's not better or worse. I do like the letters because we can include certain things in those letters, like reasonings, right? Reasonings, whether it was not you, it's inaccurate, attached to inaccurate information. We could put some laws like 15 USC, which essentially states that this account was furnished without my consent. So I like letters, but you can do letters and dispute online. Both of them are going to be great methods.
I think that part right there that you said is important. Knowing what the laws are so that you can put that in there, because the more laws you know, they're not trying to combat with you when it comes to these laws. So if you
Absolutely.
don't know the laws, find somebody that does, because you
Yeah.
have a higher chance of getting those items removed off of your credit report with when you know the laws, you know the rules, and you're spitting that out to them, then they're like, listen, I don't want to play with this person. Mm-mm.
Fact.
Let me just
And
spit it out.
that's literally what it is. Like they're like, all right, this person's serious. Like let's not play with them. Let's get rid of that ASAP.
Man, y'all
ASAP.
got some great questions coming.
All
Keep
right.
them coming, y'all. Keep them coming. Let's make sure we utilize there's time.
All right. So, what's the time frame on those paid off accounts? Like, if an auto loan that was paid off in full in 2022, how long would they use? How long would they use that?
If it was paid off in 2022, that's yeah, that's definitely going to be good. It's going to look very good because it's going to show that you've paid off an account in full, and this person is responsible. So you can go back. It could be back as far as whenever. If you have a paid auto loan, that's going to help you regardless, whether it's for your next auto loan or for something else you're going. Like one of my mentees, he paid off his auto loan. He had first gotten approved. That was his first one, so he got approved for about 30,000. He paid it off, and now he tiered up. So typically with auto loans, they have something called tiers. So then he just went back to the same credit union, and he got 60,000 approved for the auto loan, because now that shows, okay, this person's handled that. Let's give him the next tier up. So it's going to be super beneficial for you, and the time frame doesn't matter.
Sweet. All right. I feel like this is for you and Antonio. Question: if this is the correct if this is the correct platform, if I'm just starting a business but I'm looking for about 250,000 plus in new construction startup for real estate, would you recommend a personal loan in this amount through the credit union?
So if you're, she said, if I'm just starting a business, but I'm looking for about 250,000 in new construction for real estate, what I recommend a personal. Well, if you have the business started and your personal profile is already in order, right? Like you meet the criteria I said, and you have two personal credit cards that are at least 3,000. And you have all those data points I hit, I would recommend starting with getting business products first. And the reason being is because the business side, again, they don't report to the personal report. So let's go say you go, whether you get a business loan or you get business products, it's not gonna hurt your DTI on the personal side, right? Because let's say you do it on the personal side. What that may do is it's gonna affect your DTI, and now you're kind of gonna be stuck until you're going to be stuck on that one play, versus if you do it on a business side, now maybe you could go get some more real estate going or do some other things. So I would start with the business side. If you don't have, those data points yet and you absolutely need to, then yeah, you can get that personal loan and leverage that. But I always recommend business first, if possible.
All right. She finna take us in a different direction based off
Mhm.
that question. When you are setting up your LLC, and we don't get too deep in it, what are some high risk industries that will limit the amount of funding you can get?
That's a great question.
Real estate.
So yeah, there's something called the NAICS code, which essentially distinguishes, high risk industries versus low risk industries. So some ones that you might want to stay away from when naming your business, or what is the nature of your business. You might want to stay actually away from the word real estate in it, cannabis, investments, just because again it's all based off of a code. Now it doesn't mean that you won't get funding, right? It just means that maybe you won't get the maximum amount that you would have gotten. Now for like you're established, you have properties. For you at that point, it's based off of, okay, the money you're bringing in, the activity. So you're going to get those high limits. But for new LLCs, if possible, stay away from those high risk industry names, just so you can get that maximum amount of funding.
Yeah. So and she brought it up when she said real estate. So what I would recommend is LLC to do real estate, pick consulting. That way it's low risk, and you can get
Absolutely.
funding to do real estate deals. But I will also look at the hard money route or the private money route to help with the purchase and rehab.
Yeah, I wouldn't use all of my business. I would get the business fund. I would just use that as the down payment, the starting of
All right, I gotta ask this question. Okay, let's go back a little bit. As Chappelle said, we broke up a little bit. Mr. Green said he missed the data points. All right.
Okay. So in the part that I
Data
broke
point?
up on, let's make sure we're good.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's a little better now. Okay, here. Let me see.
Okay. Look like I got all bars now. So what I was saying is if I am looking into getting into new construction, I would get business funding to get some of the funding, but well, to get as much funding as I can get, but I wouldn't put all of that towards the actual
Purchase and rehab.
construction
Yeah.
project. You rehab and to put in my down payment. The more I have, the more I can do more deals than just that one construction project. So I would use it on several deals and not just one.
Agree. Let me ask my question real quick, and then you can go back to them. All right, I'm gonna forget for the third time. All right, I'm gonna take us down a little different avenue. And we've been through credit repair. We're trying to get these data points. What is a way that we can get primary accounts from things that we already do?
So
And one of them is go.
house rent, absolutely. So a lot of people don't know. You can actually get your rent reported as primary accounts, right? So there's a few we love. Two of my favorites are Rental Karma, right? And then there's Rent Reporter. All right, and these will essentially allow you to get your rent reported every month. And not only that, but they will allow you to actually backdate, right? So you can, we talk about increasing that age, right? Some of us, we need more age. This is a great way to do it. Let's say you've been living somewhere for 5 years, right? You can, when you sign up for those, it's going to tell you on the first page, hey, we'll allow you to backdate 2 years. And I learned this from myself, right? So you go through the application, and then it asks you, what is your moving date? And on the moving date, I put my moving date from where I was living since I was 18. And that account, when they hit my credit report within 15 days, which is another thing I like, they hit quick typically. I had two accounts that had 9 years of history. And I was like, whoa. So that's a great way that you can increase the strength in your profile score as well. So that's definitely a big hack for anyone who's looking to increase that profile.
All right, now you can go back up to some questions.
All right. So Mr. Grid, he needs data points that's needed. So can you go back over real quick what the data points are for business funding and personal funding?
Absolutely. So when looking to get when looking to get business funding on the personal side, you're going to want at least 10 primary accounts reporting. You're going to want your utilization to be under 15, but preferably between 2 and 9%, right? That's going to give us those higher limits. No derogatories, no late payments, less than 4 inquiries. Yeah, that's going to be the criteria that you're going to want. You want to want 2 personal credit cards with at least a $2,500 limit. But I'm going to tell you, we want to get those as high as possible, because the higher our personal credit card limits are, that's what our business funding is going to be based off of, right? So that's why I told you I'll go to those credit unions first. They're going to give you $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, out the gate. Now you can work your way back to these bigger banks, and Bank of America's, Chase's, Wells Fargo's. And they're going to see that, and not that they're going to match what you got on a credit union, because they do sort of understand that credit unions do have easier criteria. So you'll probably get about half. So you got 20 on the from, let's say, DCU, right? You go to Bank of America, you might get between 10 and 15. Now we have these limits. When we go get business funding, they're going to look at our limits along with our data points, and that's what they're going to base your business side limits off of.
Sweet. All right. So, Mr. Green said, should I redo my LLC? I use real estate in my LLC.
Nah, I tell people you don't need to redo it. What you can do though is, hey, you can have multiple LLCs. I think a lot of us would think, we're kind of confined to, oh, new business idea means new LLC, but it doesn't. Like, you can have LLCs that literally you just use to fund, the same business as your other LLC. So what I would do is, I think it's Mr. Green, if your data points are on point, your personal credits in order, your LLC structured the right way, I would go through a rounds of funding with 0% banks and run it. See how much you can get. You can still go get, a lot of money. And then once you decide you need more funding, or even now, I would set up a second LLC, just knowing that, maybe you're looking to get new deals or do more work. So no, you don't need to get a new one just to replace it, but you can get a new one, just because you want more money.
All right, good stuff.
Before you answer that question,
okay.
For people like Chappelle, for people like Mr. Green, people who already have those data points, ideally over 700 credit score, we're gonna be a website where you can go get a soft inquiry and see if you can get some funding today.
So you got to stay on. You got to stay on to see it. All right. Latanya said, a lot of people set up LLC for protection of personal assets. Does getting secured business funding based upon personal financial profile out your personal asset is at a risk?
So when you get things in the business name, even when you are personal guarantoring, that's essentially just them looking at your personal profile to see if you're lendable on the business side. Now, anything you do get, it is still separated from the personal side because it is in the LLC names. But the only way it would report to your personal report is if you do default on these products. So if you're running off on the plug, or you're just not paying the banks back, then yeah, that will go to your personal profile. But as long as we're being responsible, these things will stay in our business name.
Good job. Anthony said, run it. Dietrich, you haven't missed the event. For those of you who don't know, the event...
They're going to be out of town.
No, Anthony Chappelle said he was out of town. The event is on January 7th and 28th. It is the Simple Sexy Flipping Conference. You guys can get your tickets from Eventbrite. You can also use the discount code Darius for 50% off. So if you want to sign up, you want to see Darius in person, you want to ask him some one-on-one questions depending on your situation and really kind of get his insight and be able to work with Darius, go to Eventbrite, register for the event, and use the code Darius for 50% off.
All right, while you getting back to the comments, I'm going to just do like a little left. If you need things like trade lines, if you don't have that rent history and you need it, send us a DM. We can make some connections. We got some people that do sell trade lines also. So if you're looking for those type of things, we ain't gonna really talk around here, but send us a DM. Hey, I need that rent reporters. I need those trade lines. We can help you out with that also.
Absolutely. So Mr. Green said early bird tickets are sold out. There's still some general admission and some VIP tickets left. All right. Toria said, what's the most you've seen a first timer get, if anything, on the business side, if everything is good on the personal side?
So even I think she's saying as a new business. So even as a new business, I just had a client, this was about a month and a half ago. She had just gotten her LLC for a week, but her personal credit was on point. We ended up getting her about $78,000, and she still had more to get, but she was like, oh, I'm good. Like, I think sometimes people think, getting all that the money can be like scary for whatever reason. But I'm like, we still have, the rest of the sequence we can go through. But yeah, you can, even as a brand new business, typically it's going to be between that 50 and 125 mark is what you'll see. But yeah, so that's, even as a brand new business, you can get a bag, a nice bag.
Listen, how many of you can deal with 78,000? How many of you can deal with 50,000? I need some fires in the chat. I need to know if what Darius just said is ridiculous.
Right.
It's a
Nice.
first time I learned about getting the credit and all this stuff. I had one of my coworkers, and we got like $40,000. And he was like, "Stop! I ain't doing no more. Like, this ain't right. Something ain't right." I'm like, "Nah, this is how credit works. Like, this is how America is set up to succeed." He like, "Nah, man. Let's just do 40,000 for now." I'm like, "Bro, we can go get 80. Like, what are we stopping for?" He like, "No, let's just do 40 right now."
2 years later, he said, "Can we go for another round? I think I'm ready now." I don't know why I was tripping last time.
For real, that's crazy.
It's crazy because it really just be a mindset thing. It's like we think, man, all this money, it must be something wrong. When it's like, no, this is, like you said,
Must be something
set up. Crazy.
We just wasn't taught for so long the play. So now if you weren't taught it, if it wasn't something you were exposed to, immediately you have that guard up and you like, well, something's not right. It's not, I can't do this. No, you just weren't hipped into it. Like, this game has been running for years.
Yes.
We just didn't have access to it. YouTube wasn't what it is now. Like, people weren't coaching the way they're coaching. It wasn't so easily exposable.
And I'm gonna say this, and I love everybody on here, so don't take this personal if this shoe fits you. My mom is 55-ish, and there were so many schemes and things going on back in that time that generation is so afraid and they're so reserved to try anything because they tried stuff back then. Now it's like, nah, all that's a scheme, don't none of that work. And it's like, it's not like that. Like, we actually got the rules to the rule book now. Like, I don't really know what happened to y'all back then, but man, let's start that age group. So, like, if you're in that age group, open up a little bit. Don't be afraid to try new things.
Absolutely. They didn't have Zoom. They didn't have webinars. They didn't have master classes. They didn't have social media. They didn't have none of that.
All right.
So typically it'd be the same thing. It'd be like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go.
No,
Darius.
tell us, Darius.
No, I'm saying, like you said, it do be the generation, because even like my mom now, she's like, oh wow, but like she used to be like, doing all that credit stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because like they were taught, like, just get good credit, don't use too much, go get a house, maybe an auto loan, and then that's it. But it's like now we leverage credit to create cash flow, and like you said, it's just based. I don't know what happened in that generation, but it's just something traumatizing. But we have to unlearn and relearn, kind of, the new way.
Absolutely.
We're gonna be respectful of your time, and we thank you. If you got some more questions, come to the conference. We maybe come back on this live and answer some of them. But I want you to give away a present to those who stayed.
Absolutely. So for those of y'all who did stay on, this is a pre-approval lender that y'all can go check out. Even if your data points aren't, super on point. We had a girl with she had a 676. She got approved for like 26,000. And it's a soft pull, so it's not gonna affect your. It's not gonna be a hard inquiry, right? You can go check out Nassau Federal Credit Union. I don't know if there's a place for me to type it, but essentially it's a NA. Okay, let me see.
Put Mr. Green on there while he.
Oh yeah, Dave Ramsey. Yeah, he's definitely the opposite.
It wasn't just you, Mr. Green. I promise you, it's not just you.
Take Dave Ramsey out of. Take him off the bookshelf, hide him.
I won't say that.
He has a good time and place. Yeah, he has good concepts. He does.
Yeah, I'm like you all. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Kiyosaki, those guys. Nassau Federal Credit Union, pre-approval credit card, right? And that's gonna, you can Google that, and it'll take you. You'll see a link. It'll say no credit impact, right? It will say clearly this will not harm your credit. And what you're gonna do is, You can pick a card, right? They have a few different options. What I tell people is the only difference is some of them have a little more rewards points, some of them have a little more cashback advantages, some of them have slightly lower interest rates. So it's literally, you can pick anyone. All right. Once you do go in there, you're just gonna fill out some simple information. It's gonna ask you simple stuff: name, address, employment status. One key I will give you all is this, and we'll talk about it at the conference. So make sure y'all get in the room. But for employment situation, right, on any bank applications, whether personal or business side, we never want to put self-employed or retired, right? The reason being is because, just in the eyes of the lender, it's like, it's a red flag, because in their minds this tells them that, oh, this person doesn't have consistent income, right? So we know as entrepreneurs that we have the ability to make consistent money, but just from the bank's eye, it's a red flag. So y'all can put for employment, if you do have a current employer, use that. Another thing you can put is that you're employed by the business, right? By your business, if you already have your LLC. Or lastly, you can put in an old employer. So those are some options y'all could do for that. And then once you all fill out that rest of that pre-approval, it will let you know if you're pre-approved, and it'll also tell you how much you're pre-approved for. Now, at that point, once it tells you, then if you decide to go through with the application, you will then get a hard pull, right? But the pre-approval process is just a soft pull, and they pull from Experian.
Good stuff.
Great.
Thank you so much, Darius. I'm so excited. You guys, make sure you see Darius. He'll be in Birmingham, January 27th and the 28th at the Simple Sexy Flipping Conference. You can get your tickets off of Eventbrite. Type in Simple Sexy Flipping, and you will see it.
Discount code for Darius?
Discount code, if you want to get 50% off just for being on here today, make sure you type in Darius as the promo code to get 50% off. And we can't wait to see you guys there. We can't wait to see Darius there.
And it was like so small. We got so much more to talk about, man.
Right.
So I got another appointment, and I told you I wasn't gonna have you on here long. I thank you, man. I appreciate everything, helping our people. I'm good, man. I just can't wait to get here.
Right.
I'll leave them off with this one thing. I tell y'all, the most important thing you could do is get in the room. I met these two just from social media, and they've been getting in the room, and we've been now networking, and now we're about to work together. So you guys are going to get in the room where you're going to meet hundreds of other entrepreneurs. And the biggest thing I always say is, like, information will change your whole life. So whether it's just one piece of information that the Denmarks give y'all on a flip, or how to fund your first deal, or whatever it may be, or one piece of information I give you in terms of how to get access to the capital, like just the power of getting in a room, you might meet your next business partner, someone you do a deal with. So make sure y'all get in the room, and I'm super excited. I want to say thank y'all for the opportunity, and I look forward to seeing y'all in Birmingham.
No problem. There's me.
Okay.
Appreciate it, Darius. One thing I will tell y'all is we use this method through a lot of our deals. When we say get funding, we're not saying get funding to go buy a property and rehab the property with those funds. All you need to do is get funding to get your down payment. And once you get funding for your down payment, and you can make payments, you make $20,000 off of that deal. That's $20,000 that you never use your own money.
Absolutely.
Like, that is game changing, to where you can do some work, use other people's money for the purchase, the rehab, the down payment, the interest payments, start the rehab, and make $20,000 on the low end and be good. So it's conference info. So I will say that is a secret that we use, and our business took off once we started doing that. Like, when we first started our first 6 years, 5-6 years, we was using only our money to buy deals. We would save some, buy another, save some, buy another. And once we started OPM and using other people's money, and even using other people's credit, that's when our lives changed, just to be totally transparent. So, like, all the conversations that we have with people, we talking about credit, we talking about investments, because you could be sitting next to your next business partner just because they got a 700 credit score and they already got the data points. You take them through funding. Absolutely. You use their funding to do a deal in both of you guys' name and split the profit. Just keep doing it. It ain't gonna happen overnight. We're not get rich quick type people. It's gonna take some work, but you can do it.
Definitely. What we'll do is we'll drop the link for the conference in the chat. Where's your phone? Let me drop it in real quick.
Is there anything left that I could have possibly answered? I know Darius had to go. Y'all, we literally squeezed him into this window, so I had to let him go. He was, but he had to go. Let's see if anything that I potentially could have answered. Miss Clarissa said that was awesome information. Thank you very much.
Did you guys learn something?
Good event, yes. Yes, Miss Michael said good event. Thank you all. That's what I like to hear. Just be a go-giver and just help people, man. It'll come back. Yes, we can. Conference link, Darius contact info. I send it to you, Chappelle. Send me a message right now, and I'll send it to you. Just be a go-giver. You just gonna cut. You just gonna do all that right now. Send me a message. All right, well, we're gonna roll. Miss Hood put yes. Of course, we learned something. Paulina put yes. Paulina, you ain't booked your strategy call yet. I'm still waiting on you. A little mad at you, but it'll be all right. Thank y'all for coming. We are back when?
Tomorrow.
We back
same
tomorrow.
Same time, 1:30.
Same time. Let's go. Thank y'all for the support. Peace.
Tomorrow we're gonna have Cody is gonna be in the house. Cody with Timberline Inspection. I am dropping the link in the Facebook event as well as X Flipper page and on YouTube. Cody is gonna tell us what should we look for when we're buying our investment properties. What does that look like? Cody is also another speaker that's going to be at the conference. So we want to make sure you guys meet the people first before they come. And then so that way you know what it is that you're looking for and you have a chance to ask them some questions based off of your experiences and based off of information that you've learned prior to getting into the room.
Go like our YouTube channel. This is our 5th or 6th one so far. What is this?
You're gonna make me lie.
We've done some other. We did one with the rehab man.
The rehab depot, Ryan Rowdy.
We did one with Devontae. So if you're looking for stuff to watch, free information, go like our YouTube page. We got a lot of stuff on there. See y'all later.
See you later.